here we have 4 different burial styles. We have in-ground burial. It's a common misconception that we do not bury in-ground anymore. The second cemetery of the tour is exclusively in-ground. We have above-ground graves, we have above-ground tombs, and we have wall vaults. There are people in these walls. We have 700 wall vaults, we have 300 above-ground graves and tombs. We have 6,100 people interred in here. This is just under an acre, and I'll explain how momentarily. We have a lot of symbolism in here. This well is a decorative well. It was put in by a subsect of the Oddfellows known as the Daughters of Rebecca. It harkens back to the biblical story of Rebecca and the well. And then right above y'all's head, you'll see the symbol of the Oddfellows, 3 interlocking graves. Everybody see them? How about y'all? Y'all see them? Those are the trilinks of together. So you can see the letters F, L, T in the middle of them. They stand for friendship, love, and peace. As we're walking around, I will point out additional pieces of symbolism, as well as introduce you to some people. I'll be doing that by talking to you a bit about them and reading an epitaph. The one I would like to start out with is Andrew Murphy. He was a jailer here in New Orleans. It does not happen often, but we still have burials and interments in the Oddfellows Rest. One of the most recent is Weston Mix. He died January 15th of 2022. He had a small service with friends and family a couple days. This is our Southwestern Lodge, and it is filled with symbolism. We have inverted torches, showing us your soul not being extinguished in the afterlife. We have open vases. In a position like this, an open vase is not for flowers. An open vase is the opposite of an urn. If an urn shows you a closed finished life, an open vase presents an unfinished life. Use a lot in benevolent associations and charity work, because even though you're dead, your works follow you. And then we have our tablet, filled with Oddfellows symbolism. I can point it out, but I can't go into it. We have the widow and the orphan, the skull and crossbones, the moon and 7 stars, the all-seeing eye, the sun, the winged hourglass, the hand and heart, the globe, the crossed keys, the lamb, the fleur-de-lis, the dove, the lilies, the bundle of sticks, the crossed swords, the beehive, and others. It's 160 years old. It is the second most photographed thing in the cemetery. What do you think the most photographed thing is?
You.
Yes. It's me. I accidentally showed up in people's pictures, which is why I dress this way. Y'all spent 22 years in the closet and not learn how to color coordinate. I would like to speak further about the 4 interment styles we have in the cemetery. The first one I don't need to explain. We've all been to a funeral before. We are familiar with in-ground burial. The second we talked about when we were walking down that aisle. Wall vaults. 3 1/2 feet thick. You're just slid into the walls. The third are right here. Coping graves. They're called coping graves because this wall around them is called coping. It's a roofing term. They're typically 1 to 3 feet tall. They go into the ground 4 feet, which is our water table. And in a coping grave, you are buried shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, directly on top of each other until it's full. When it is full, it gets cemented over. And once it's cemented over, there's no room at the end. If you need to bury more, you get into the coping grave. That's how Weston Mix is the 7th name on that headstone. He's the 7th body in that grave. And then we have these. The above ground tombs we associate with the city of New Orleans. You'll be kind enough to swap the position. Death is no respecter of time, place, person, or age. Because of this, I do choose my own volunteers to make a drink. Damn it. My condolences. The cemetery worker, known as the sexton, is going to unscrew these 2 bolts. The closure tablet comes off. Under the closure tablet, we find brick and mortar. The brick and mortar is broken, and it shows us an opening, a shelf, an opening, a rack, and then a drop down 4 feet to the ground. That's called the caveau. We'll deal with the caveau in a moment. Tammy, you are not going to be involved. Anybody going in an above ground tomb in New Orleans should not be involved. You are put in a casket. The casket is not sealed. You're slid into the top opening. The brick and mortar is rebuilt. The closure tab returned. The bolts are screwed in. Your name gets engraved. A couple years later, can I get your answer? A couple years later, Dave passes. Same thing but different. Dave fills up the second opening. The tomb is now full. Now these are for families and friends of the family. So when I die, with permission of the family proper, I can go in there. So it fills like Andy and Dave. I'd like to point out two differences between our cemeteries here and the cemeteries back home. Number one, ours are primarily above ground. But it's a second difference we need for this. If you look around at any of our 38 above ground cemeteries in New Orleans, you do not find a whole lot of natural shade. It's designed that way to get hot. Summer in New Orleans is unbearable. And during summer, these get over 3 degrees. Now, we were a Catholic city when we were founded. Catholicism gave us the foundation to where a lot of our practices were built upon. That's why we have parishes in Louisiana. We don't have counties. It's a Catholic thing. The traditional Catholic mourning period is a year and a day. Tammy, that's the least amount of time that you're up here. Because it was time to bring somebody else in and disregard me. Vaults are removed. Walking around our cemetery, you'll notice a couple things. You'll find exposed brick on our wall vaults. You'll see headstones followed over and broken. You'll find tombs that have been through better days. That is not isolated to the Oddfellows rest. All of our above ground cemeteries in New Orleans look like this, and that's because of our laws. When you purchase a wall vault, cope engraver tomb, you are presented with a deed. From that point forward, if the cemetery is putting a body in it, legally they can't touch it because it's not their property, it's yours. So upkeep and repair lie on the family. And so many of these family lines have died out. And with no one to take care of the tomb, the first casualty is a closure town. It's been born 15th of June, 1843, died 14th of April, 1862, aged 18 years and 10 months. He fell exhausted on the bloody field of Shiloh, Sunday, April 6, 1862, fighting for his country's liberty, and died in Corinth, Mississippi, as recorded above. A couple years later, he is joined by his sister, Ella Fairchild, wife of John W. Bingham. Died July 3rd, 1868, aged 21 years, 7 months, and 13 days. Also, her infant child, born and died the same date, so childbirth took the both. And John Bingham was so distraught after losing his entire family in one moment. He has carved on the closure tablet this epitaph. A loving husband's heart and hopes be buried in this dark, cold tomb. He lives another 20 years. He never remarries, and he's buried an hour away in Baton Rouge, alone. You see the bow? Shelby? Admittingly, I do